Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. Monica here, and I'm joined today by the fabulous Cajun.
Hey, Monica. Hey, listeners. So excited to dive into this topic today. Something I think about, honestly, almost every single day.
Right? Because we're talking about something that impacts everyone, whether you realize it or not. The fascinating, sometimes baffling difference between what we might call school Englishes and Gen Z English. It's like two different dialects sometimes.
Totally. I remember being in high school and being so careful about like subject verb agreement, not ending a sentence with a preposition, all that good stuff. And now, half my texts are just, it's giving vibes or no cap. That's facts.
See, that's exactly it. You just threw out a couple of phrases that if I read them in an academic essay, I'd probably have an aneurysm. No cap, it's giving. For someone not in the know, that's a whole new language.
But for us, it's just normal. It's efficient. Like no cap is just a quicker way to say no lie or I'm being serious. And its giving is so versatile. You can say it's giving main character energy or it's giving sad vibes. It conveys so much with so little.
And that efficiency is a hallmark of how language evolves, isn't it? We're always looking for shortcuts. But school English, what we teach in classrooms, is about clarity, precision, and adherence to established rules. It's about being understood by the broadest possible audience, usually in a formal context.
Right? Like you're not going to write your college thesis using internet slang, at least not if you want to pass. But the irony is, outside of that very specific context, school Englishes can sometimes feel a bit clunky, like you're trying too hard to sound intelligent.
That's a really good point. There's a formality to it that, in casual conversation, can feel unnatural. Think about the vocabulary. In school English, you might use ameliorate or ubiquitous. In Gen Z English, you're probably saying make better or everywhere. The meaning's the same, but the vibe is completely different.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just about specific words, it's about sentence structure too. School English wants complete sentences, complex clauses, clear transitions. Gen Z English is often fragmented, punchy, almost stream of consciousness sometimes, especially on social media.
Like a series of rapid-fire thoughts rather than a carefully constructed argument. And I think that speaks to the different purposes of these two Englishes. School English is often about formal communication, conveying complex ideas, and persuasion in a structured way. Gen Z English is about connection, identity, humor, and rapid, often visual communication.
Totally. It's like Gen Z English is designed for the internet, for memes, for short form video. It's visual, it's quick, it's often ironic. You're not just communicating information, you're communicating a whole vibe, a shared cultural understanding.
A vibe, another great example. That's a word that has existed forever, but Gen Z has completely repurposed and intensified its meaning. It's not just a general atmosphere, it's a specific, often unspoken emotional resonance.
For sure. And it's not always just about slang. Sometimes it's about grammar rules that we just bend, like using they as a singular pronoun, which is now generally accepted. But I remember in school, it was a huge no-no. Or even just dropping articles or auxiliary verbs in text, going to store instead of I'm going to the store.
Oh, the singular they is a classic example of language adapting to societal changes, isn't it? English has always been a language of evolution. It borrowed from French, Latin, German. It's a linguistic melting pot. But the speed at which Gen Z English is evolving, largely thanks to the internet, is truly unprecedented.
It's wild. Like a term can be super popular for 6 months, and then it's chuggy, which is another term, by the way, for something that's like trying too hard to be trendy but isn't. And then it's out. You have to be constantly online to keep up.
There's an exclusivity to it almost, isn't there? If you're not immersed in that culture, you're out of the loop. And that can be both fun for the in-group, but also potentially isolating for those outside it, whereas school English aims for universal understanding.
Definitely. It creates its own micro communities. And honestly, it's part of identity for a lot of people. How you talk, what slang you use, it can signal who you are, what subcultures you're part of. It's not just about communicating, it's about belonging.
That's a profound point, Cajun, because language isn't just a tool, it's deeply tied to identity and social connection. School English provides the foundational structure, the rules of the road for formal discourse, for careers, for understanding legal documents or complex literature.
And Gen Z English gives you the expressiveness, the flavor, the humor. It's the language of friendship, of memes, of just chilling. I think the challenge and maybe the beauty is learning to switch between them, code switching, right?
Exactly. The ability to code switch effectively is becoming an increasingly vital skill. Knowing when to use no cap and when to say, I assure you this is factual. Knowing when to use Riz to describe someone's charming ability versus using a more formal synonym in a professional context.
Oh man, Riz is such a good one. For anyone listening who's not familiar, it's essentially short for charisma, but it's used as a verb or a noun like he's got mad Riz or he's trying to Riz her up. It's about being able to charm someone.
And it's efficient, right? It packs a whole lot of meaning into 4 letters, whereas in school English you might have to describe someone as having a captivating personality or an inherent ability to charm others. It's much longer.
Totally. And sometimes you just want to get your point across fast, especially if you're like scrolling through TikTok comments or something. You don't have time for a full dissertation.
Which brings us back to context. The medium dictates the message and the language. A casual text message or social media post naturally leans towards brevity and informality. A formal presentation or a job application demands a different register entirely.
But sometimes, I swear, I find myself accidentally slipping into Gen Z speak, even in more formal situations. Like I might be talking to my professor and almost say, that's fire about an idea. And then I catch myself. It's like my brain is just wired that way now.
I can totally relate. I've caught myself almost using slay in a professional meeting. It's a testament to how deeply ingrained this language becomes, especially when you're immersed in it daily through friends, social media, and culture. It becomes a natural part of your linguistic toolkit.
And then you have the whole unfiltered aspect of Gen Z communication. Like sometimes the grammar mistakes or the lack of capitalization isn't an error, it's an aesthetic choice. It's intentional. It's meant to convey a certain nonchalance or authenticity.
That's a fascinating point. It's almost a subversion of formal rules to create a specific emotional tone, like not capitalizing sentences or using proper punctuation can signal a more intimate, less guarded form of communication, whereas perfect grammar can sometimes feel cold or distant.
Exactly. It's like if you text someone in perfectly structured, grammatically correct sentences all the time, they might think you're mad at them or something. It can come across as overly formal for a casual chat.
Or like you're writing a formal letter instead of having a conversation. So what advice would you give to, say, a parent or an educator who's struggling to understand this evolving language?
I'd say, first, don't dismiss it as lazy or bad English. It's just different. And honestly, it's incredibly creative. New words, new phrases, new ways of expressing really complex emotions are constantly popping up. Try to ask what something means without judgment or even look it up. Urban Dictionary is surprisingly helpful sometimes.
That's excellent advice, approaching it with curiosity rather than criticism. And for Gen Zers, how do they navigate the transition from their everyday language to the more formal requirements of school or the workplace?
I think it's about understanding the audience and the context. Like if you're writing an email to a potential employer, you know you need to use standard English, but it's not like Gen Z can't do it. We've been taught it. It's just a matter of consciously switching gears. It's like wearing different outfits for different occasions. You wouldn't wear pajamas to a job interview.
That's a perfect analogy. It's about appropriateness. Neither form of English is inherently better than the other. They just serve different purposes and thrive in different environments. It's about mastering both and knowing when to deploy which.
Exactly. And I think honestly, learning both makes you a more versatile communicator. Being able to be super formal and precise, but also being able to connect with people on a more casual, authentic, and sometimes hilarious level using slang. That's a powerful combo.
Absolutely. It's about expanding your communicative range. And it also highlights the incredible dynamism of language itself. It's not static, it's a living, breathing thing that reflects societal changes, technological advancements, and cultural shifts.
It's true. Imagine what English will sound like in another 20 or 30 years. What new slang will emerge? What rules will be bent or broken? It's kind of exciting to think about, right?
It really is. It keeps us on our toes. So, to wrap things up, I think we can agree that school Englishes provides the essential framework for clear, formal communication, and Gen Z Englishes offers an incredibly rich, expressive, and constantly evolving layer of identity and connection.
For sure. And mastering both is key. Don't be afraid to stand good grammar, but also don't be afraid to slay with your is and keep things no cap in your everyday conversations. It's all about balance.
Beautifully put, Cajun. What a fantastic discussion. Thank you so much for breaking all this down with me today.
Thanks for having me, Monica. This was super fun.
And thank you to all our listeners for tuning in. We hope this episode helped you bridge the linguistic gap a little bit. Keep observing the language around you, keep learning, and remember that communication is an art form, no matter what dialect you're speaking. We'll catch you next time.